So, you've given it some thought. You've looked at every monster. And you have decided that this slime could be in the next arena battle. Look at that massive first skill. He doesn't even need to be awakened because he is that good. Reducing the attack speed isn't I'm just kidding, guys. Hi guys, welcome back. This is Chronix here. I'm on one of my other accounts for anybody who's interested, but I just want to take a look at some of the monsters that I believe will help you out in this 4-star arena battle. Let me first show you what I'm talking about. You got a World Arena, see Special League. Smack that Special League button. Now you are here. The home of beautiful, gorgeous leagues. Inside you'll find access to multiple leagues and find multiple gifts along the way, including the gorgeous Ifrits, the Flaming Conqueror, and a bunch of other stuff like shapeshifting stones, which I'm currently looking for. What sets this league apart mainly for all who are new is that you can only use 4-star or below monsters. This mainly means that Chow and that Fire Panda to your left, they can't be used in this battle. Only the monsters that you can obtain outside of Nat 5s can be used, period. Which means you can set aside your hate, your discrimination, and your undying want to murder anybody who gets those lovely Nat 5s. Because now you can finally use those monsters in storage to their fullest potential. I'm not here to name all 200 monsters I believe that can be used effectively, but I'm going to name some that I believe everybody should take a look at. So for the first one I'm going to go over, we're going to start with Vertihau, a monster already used a lot, especially in Trials of Ascension, and especially used in any form of farming, mainly due to his leader skill. Vertihau is like any kind of attack buffer you would expect, except when you get rid of those monsters like Bastet, whom seem to rule over Arena, you don't know what to replace it with. I believe Vertihau replaces Bastet perfectly. Not only does he do his beautiful attack bar increasing by 20%, he also has a beautiful amount of attack. He is an attack based monster, thus you should build him as one. His speed is low, but it can be very effective to utilize as much as possible, and I think he really shines in this battle especially. Next one we're going to talk about, and we're staying with fire because I'm going to go down the list here, is a common one most will refer to as the Chloe. The beautiful woman who met the legend. One of the most sought over Nat 4s, probably more powerful than most Nat 5s. Now, is she overpowered? By no means is she that. But take a look at that speed. Yes, she does get this beautiful speed buff of 15 when she's awakened, and this Fanatic, which grants her entire team invincibility and immunity. In the Special League, she is considered a prized possession because she provides a heal and basically a overkill protection on top of this massive speed. Folks, if you're looking for a unit to replace that of which you do not have in this league, such as Veligil, I strongly suggest Chloe. Now moving on, because everybody knows about Chloe, we have Rakshasa. I have personally built her with a decent amount of speed, a solid amount of HP, and I find her to be one of my most valuable assets. This is due mainly because she's kind of like an anti-Vertihau, and she can in a sense give you more turns because of it. So her combined with Vertihile is a nasty disaster for your opponent. Not only can you reduce your attack bar, but you can also make them slower. And that's with her first skill only. She's a very powerful monster, and she deserves a lot more credit than she is given. Okay, now I think we're about done with fire. Let's move on to water. So, first of all, I want us to give a few shoutouts to these monsters that I believe we all already know about. I can tell you right now that Orion is definitely an OP monster, obviously, but I don't think his effectiveness is as vital as it is in regular arena, just because there are more monsters with better stats and skills than just his simple harmless prank, because turn 1 won't always be the winning turn in these special leagues. So I'm going to look at a couple monsters I don't think you guys really know too much about. One of them being this one, Sonnet. I recently built her. She is a beautiful crowd control unit, and there's not many monsters that are Nat 4s that have a crowd control unit to them. But this one has 2 skills that basically knock your entire opponent's team out, given they don't have any immunity, giving you more turns. This is a very good unit, and I strongly recommend you trying her out. I currently have her built on a Swift build. I think that's actually probably the best. I don't think Violent is really worthwhile, because if you Violent proc and have to use your first skill, you'll wake them up. It's best to put her on Swift for that reason. I also recommend building her with as much resistance as possible, because she needs to be able to use her skills without fail. I don't think I've seen anybody use her without having at least some bit of success, because she just gives you that edge. Another monster I'm going to show you is one that I believe works perfectly with her, and that is Izaria. Izaria's a beautiful monster with these skills like all your succubuses that after recent buff no longer awaken after being put to sleep. So this one has beautiful attack speed leader skill, which is kinda rare in Nat 4 cases, on top of these skills all alone that pretty much give you this huge damage amount. I would strongly recommend, if you're going to build a monster like Sonnet, definitely build someone like her, because she gives that leader skill, so she gives you that speed that Sonnet needs on top of all this other stuff. There's a lot more monsters you could look at in here, but I'm mainly focused on Nat 4, so I won't go after all of them. Alright, now let's start with Wind. Wind is in one of those pickles where monsters like Lucian, which we all know and love, are going to be seen all over the place. I believe Lucian is good. He could be a little overrated, but he's still good. Can't get over this amputation magic though, so, you know, YOLO. If you have the team for it, just YOLO it. Let's see. One monster you probably won't be thinking of is this guy. I personally love Aquila. I don't have him on this account built, but I have him on another account built. I have him with this massive buff to your team with the crit rate and attack power buff. That's pretty good. But not to mention, he also is a stripper. And there's not many Nat 4s that strip in this game. There's only a couple. There's Aquila, obviously Gemini, if you don't already know. He does that lovely little despair built in. But Aquila is all good around. I believe that he should get some more credit, obviously, because he really fits the bill when it comes to facing these kinds of teams. Because he can get past things like Chloe in a heartbeat. I don't see too much more that there is to offer from the Wind side. There is Delphoy. I don't want to leave her out. A very underrated monster. Practically your... crap, I can't think of her name. It doesn't matter. Alright, she has a reset target and a cleanse immunity on top of this, which actually has a pretty cool attack speed decreaser. Delphoy is an all-around perfect monster. I would actually compare her to Chloe, disregarding her low speed, and say she's probably second best choice. Definitely better for turn 2, especially if you put her on immunity, because she can obviously cleanse out of anything. So all around solid monster. She can reset any monster, so if you know that your opponent's about to do so and so, this is a good time to use her. Delphoy is definitely a key unit even in Reiki Arena. I honestly think she's a little too overpowered in this special league. I see her used constantly now. Not to mention this defense buff to win monsters. Yeah, that can come in handy if you're running teams with units that rely on defense. I'm talking about you, Copper. But overall, I think Delphoy is definitely another one of those monsters that you're going to see a lot. Definitely should invest time in learning how to deal with her. Oh, I almost forgot. Jasoon. Yeah, we don't need to talk about Jasoon. Jasoon is, yeah, Jasoon does what Jasoon does best. Okay, so we're just going to skip over her. In the light and dark, there's not too many, believe it or not, in the light and dark. Most monsters are kind of casual. You see Iris used a lot. She's a stripper. Nice little magic surge here to silence them. Overall, around a good monster. She has a ridiculously low speed, at least base speed, but she gets most of that back when she's awakened. But I really wish she would like get a better buff than that. That's kind of bad to me, at least. But that's just my opinion. Molly, I have a Molly. I like Molly. I don't use Molly. Let's see. Succubus leading back to the air. Succubuses like Azaria. AoE, Curse of White Knight. Good debuffer for attack speed. Glancing hit and other stuff. Doesn't awaken like all the rest. So if you're building a sweep team, put her in the mix. She can actually come in handy. That leader skill is pretty solid as well. If we're looking any more, I've already talked about him. Gemini is pretty good in general. He's a little overpowered. This Secret of Eternal Life, pretty cool skill. Brand of Hell, giving you a branding would be pretty scary and devastating. But do I think he's really that great? I don't think so. I think he's kind of like a stall. So if you don't have anything to back this guy up, he pretty much is a one-trick pony. Let's see, there's any others I'm missing? Leave in the comment section if you see any that I really am missing. I know you're good. I don't really use you. I've never gotten one, sadly. Sorry guys, I don't have one of this guy. But he installs bombs and he does this crazy thing that reduces attack gauge as well as stunning them. Pretty cool, 50%, so that's a pretty good monster. I'm not seeing too much more. See, I tell you, Light and Dark actually don't really get the kind of power that they probably should deserve. Moving on to Dark, there's a couple of monsters here that we're all going to like, know, and probably hate thinking about. Icarus, every time you see this monster instantly assume that he's gonna one-shot one of your teammates. And just be ready for it, okay guys? He literally does a stolen amount of HP equivalent to 50% of yours. If you build him with enough HP, you can take out any unit. He's like a Mo in 4-star form. And seriously scary. This resistance is a pretty good leader skill. And this Dark Twister, which heals, also pretty scary. He's definitely a monster that will be built tanky. So if you're going to take him out, make sure to have a good amount of, just solid units to deal with it. Another unit I'm going to talk about is my lovely little Isabel. One that I've been using and haven't seen many other people using, but I believe she's beautiful. This Endless Death, Capture Opportunity. You got self buff for Endless Death kills, getting a return if you kill another monster that resets its cooldown. Obviously amazing unit. Not too much more. I could say I'm sorry, I'm about to call him something else. Or her. It's Faye, has that leader skill and kind of nice. And this Dark Dragon attack to ignore defense. She's kind of a risk factor. I don't like seeing her If people run Faye, they're running her for her leader skill mainly and her Dark Dragon attack. But very few times have I ever seen this move pull off a wonderful damage that I can't recover from. She's usually built super, I guess just fragile. So I don't really think you should worry about her. If you need the leader skill and you need that extra damage, go for it. She does seem like a Lucian, like a YOLO team component, but she's definitely not all out of like what you think she should be. Coming in a monster that I don't think we're ever going to talk about outside of raids, but I still think she has some value, is, he is Death Knight. DS. These passives are massive because you don't have Tessarion. So it's important to realize that you can use monsters with passives without too much fear of that kind of stuff going on in Special League. It's important to note that this monster has a astounding attack power and defense breaker on second skill, and he can also disturb HP recovery on first skill. So pretty cool kit. I know it's all single target, but let's say you know there's a monster that they're going to try to recover, stop it right here. You need them to stop doing so much damage, stop it right here. This control passive will pretty much grant you some immunity from the massive devastation that Lucian can commit to dealing. This leader skill, it's alright, but you know, he's using raids and he doesn't get any love outside of it. But I managed to get to G1 in regular arena running this guy a couple of times because my opponent just could not get through the fact that this control pretty much shuts down Lucian teams. So he's definitely vital in this special league, and I strongly recommend anybody trying it that hasn't already gotten one. I don't see too much more. Of course, we all know about Frigate. If you don't already know, this full speed ahead is like Bernard on crack. Also reducing the cool time, bombardment, kind of a crowd control, kinda not. He's pretty good, not bad, definitely a monster you should use if you have. But is he something to get all crazy over? Not really. I've seen a lot of people use him and I just kind of look at him and go and just let him go through, because usually turn 1 they usually waste this, turn 2 they use this, and if that doesn't work then he's basically out of luck because this weird skill does nothing. Targeted defense break is not going to do wonders. That's kind of normal. Okay, yeah, Beta, beautiful monster. I love her. I use her all the time. Serenity, Grant Life, all this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. It's like Chloe and Chasun had a baby. Doesn't make sense, but whatever. But Beta is really good. I do not agree that she's that great though, because, well, her heal is really low, and the only thing she really does is grant immunity, because if you waste that heal, you've automatically lost like an extra 3 or so turns, whatever it is. So that's my take on this special league. I do believe that there are plenty of monsters you can play around with. I wanted to cover mainly just the 4 stars. There are 3 stars, obviously, that you can use effectively in this league. We're talking about Rakuni here. We're talking about... no, there's none from... See, there's not a whole lot to choose from as far as 3 stars is concerned. There are some that, you know, you're going to go, ooh, I can use that, because, yeah, we can use Copper if you're building that nice little defense team. Frankenstein, Fire Frankenstein, you know, that goes along with that. Not too much going on over here. There may be a couple that you could use, like the Light Werewolf, but nothing too OP. I have seen some people run him and actually trick me out, and I don't even realize how good he is. But he's kind of a one-trick wonder, and that he relies heavily on defense. So bring a Lucian, deal with this guy automatically. So that's pretty much all for this. If you have any questions, comments, smart remarks, leave them in the comments section, or feel free to message me directly. I'll leave my email in the description if you're interested. I'm just hoping you guys have fun of this week, and Happy New Year to all, because, you know, it is a new year.